This is the model you will see if you go to the link at sdl.re/bmpharma4a. At the top there's a very simple kind of control panel area showing the price that we're charging and the competitor's price that we expect them to come in at when they launch their product in the chart below that. The charts to the right of that are simply displaying some of the key variables in the model. The solid line in each chart relates to the case that corresponds with those two fixed prices for our own product and for the competitor. And you'll see there's a dashed line in two of the charts. Now that's a sketch series. It's literally a series of numbers that I've simply put into the model, and you can use those sketch series for any purpose you like. In the left hand chart I've chosen to use it as a way of showing how quickly we might lose physicians in the worst possible case, and the solid line is showing what the simulation actually projects would happen if we continue to charge a price of 50 and our competitor charged a price of 40. In the right hand chart I've chosen to use the sketch line for a slightly different purpose. The red line actually matches the blue line up to week 5, because that is the profit that we would have made if the competitor didn't launch a product at all. The solid blue line is showing what the model says would happen to our profit if we lost physicians at the rate shown over in the left hand chart. The dashed blue line is showing the profit that we hope we might be able to make even if the competitor launches their product. It's not as much as we would make if they hadn't launched the product, but that's, if you like, that's our target for protecting our profit. The green line is simply the difference between the solid red line, the profit we would have made with no competitor, and the solid blue line, the worst case profit that happens if our competitor comes in at a price of 40 against our price of 50. Down the bottom of the screen you can see the time bar. We can hide or display the controls on that. You can actually just drag the model back to any particular point in time to see exactly what any of the numbers are doing. When you're building these models, it's a really good idea to go back to time 0 and just make sure that all the calculations are doing what they should. You can play it a step at a time, or you can play it right through to the end. But what we want to do is we want to explore a scenario here. And to do that, we'll click this Add Comparison Run button here. It goes red to show that if we want to stop the comparison, we better click it again. But with that Comparison Run button clicked, we now have continuing access to the value for our price and for our competitor's price. So let's just go forward to time 5, when nothing happens up until that time because the competitor sales force aren't actually starting on this product yet. But from that point on, what kind of tactic might we employ? Well, an extreme tactic would be to price below what we think our competitor would charge and hope to prevent them taking any of our doctors at all. So let's put that down to, let's say, 35. And you can see immediately that that's had a big hit on our profit here. We would have made profit up here, and the profit's actually been dragged back down to there. If you want to see what the numbers are, those numbers are 1.04 million here in the gross profit number, and that price cut, with no change to sales whatever, has actually reduced that gross profit to 521,000. So this is a pretty costly tactic, but let's see if that actually has any good result for us. Well, it certainly loses us more profit in the first few weeks. That's the difference between the solid green line there. We're losing much more profit compared with what we would have expected with no competitor. But as we go on a bit later on, we're losing a bit less profit than we would have made if we just left the number at 50. So the blue line back here is showing the actual profit that we're making, and the green line is showing the loss of profit compared to the no competitor case. But you see we're a long way short of our desired profit line, this blue dashed target line up here. So that was a pretty costly thing to have done. Let's go back to the beginning and run that through to type 5 once again. Maybe we really want to protect our profit. I guess our financial controller probably says, don't you dare give away all of that price because it's simply going to be too costly. So what would happen if we only cut our price to 45? Well, let's play that through and see what happens there. Well, we've protected our profits just a little bit. The blue line is slightly higher than the thin blue line for the base case, but it's still nowhere near our desired target, the dashed line up there. So maybe we try something that's a bit of a mix of these two things. Maybe we start at a very low price, but then bring it back up later. So let's see what happens with that. Let's run that on for a few weeks, but then we put the price back up to a higher level. And we've actually protected a lot of our profit over the peak sales season. Now what we haven't done, of course, is we haven't actually looked at what would happen if our competitor changed their price during this episode. So let's go back to the beginning and let's step forward a couple of times and say what happens now if our competitor thinks, heck, we aren't winning doctors fast enough. I think we're going to cut our price to 32. Well, now it'll be no surprise that actually we suffer severe loss of sales again, and we suffer still worse loss of profits. Now, this looks a pretty awful scenario, but this model only looks at the impact of price and our competitor's price. In practice, there are some other things that change here. One thing, for example, is that this competitor's success rate here is simply fixed at a rate that varies with the price difference. Now, something else that happens is that if our competitor starts to be less successful than they would have hoped, then they don't make all these sales calls on this product. They say, heck, we aren't succeeding in this product launch. I think I'll go back to selling the doctors on the other products in my product range. What that means in effect is that you can reduce the number of sales calls that your competitor makes on this product by ensuring that their early success is held down. Another thing that happens is that if you can sell the doctors some advanced weeks of sales for this product, it goes into the refrigerator to be cooled. And when the salespeople from the competitor come and say, hey, we've got this great product, and the doctor says, well, yeah, I might like to take it, that's a very attractive price. Unfortunately, my fridge is full. Would you like to come back in a few weeks' time when I've used up my stock? And of course, that just reinforces the demotivation of the competitor's sales force, and again, they divert these sales calls away from this product back onto other products in their product range. And lastly, this success rate depends on the product that our competitor is selling being a credible product. And it turns out that the competitors made some claims about this product that are not strictly correct. So our sales force, when they go to see the doctor, say, hey, look, this product isn't all it's cracked up to be. So again, when our competitor sales people go and call on the same doctors, the doctor said, well, I'm not so sure about this product. It's not quite as good as you say it is. And that again reduces the call success, and that again diverts their sales effort away from this product. So with all those additional factors at work here, you can end up with really substantially better outcomes